Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to the Free Think Dojo. So I don't typically keep up with a lot of current events. Obviously, if I see them on social media, then I look into it and just try to be educated on it the best I can. But I've typically tried to stay away from a lot of things happening these days, especially what happened in 2025. I'm trying to set this new standard for 2026 of just trying to disconnect a little bit from it, not let it take over my life, and try to focus on things that are more real in my life and are more current, issues or things that I need to be focusing on. However, every once in a while, I'll come across either an article or a post or just something about current events happening. And today was one of those days with this whole doomsday clock situation. If you're not aware of what the doomsday clock is, it's basically a symbolic representation of how close humans and civilization is close to destruction or apocalypse or whatever you want to call it. And unfortunately, the clock is actually ticked closer to midnight, down to now 89 seconds from what I saw. And I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, I can't really say I'm surprised. I mean, the first couple of weeks or the first month in 2026 has been so terrible and chaotic in so many ways. And obviously, it's just, you never know what's going to happen next month and the month after. It's very up in the air. And I know a lot of people are getting afraid, they're getting anxious, and a lot of them are just starting to become numb to the whole situation. But I find it insane that we've gotten to the point where something like basically a tool saying we're leading to extinction at this point has to be thrown in at people's faces to make them understand that what is happening is not good. I don't feel like I have a moral compass that is too far off from the average person. I mean, feel like I have a good sense of what is right and what is wrong. But it's just insane to me. It's making me feel like I'm going crazy on the daily, where there are obvious, terrible things happening. And, something like a doomsday clock would probably tell me as the average person that maybe I should focus on being, better in terms of a person and helping others and try to avoid that from ticking to midnight. But a lot of people I feel like just don't care. I understand if you don't take it seriously because it's not, an accurate depiction 100%. But I feel like if anybody told me that the world was going in a very terrible direction, I wouldn't just say, let it happen, you know? And a lot of people out there, as I mentioned before, are just numb to all this, or maybe they just agree with the destruction. They want things to end, which I just don't really understand because at the end of the day, when you want things to end, that's everything. That's the people you love. That's the people, you care for. That's the things you love and care for. And yes, there's a lot of things bad happening, but I don't want everything to go away just to solve one or two problems. I don't know. It's something that I think about all the time of how there are people out there that want destruction to happen. And with this doomsday clock, it just brings it all back, up to surface, thinking about how divided a lot of people are, not only between one and another, but sometimes within themselves. A lot of people have lost passion, they've lost drive, they've lost any sense of their selves because they've been so consumed by, outside influences or stimulation. And I made a few videos about this in the past about, how things like AI and social media and all that crap can, really take over who you are as a person. And I think at the end of the day, if you did take away things like social media or AI and you just put a regular person in front of today's current events, I feel like they would take a look at it and go, "Oh my God, this is terrible." Now, I'm not saying that social media is, a common cause, and it's a big cause, obviously. I think a lot of people are influenced in certain ways that, turn them into somebody else, almost like a shell of themselves, to the point where that numbness starts to kick in and they just start to think about what other people want. It's no secret that there are people out there that want to control and they want to push people in a certain direction. And, it's no different than working a job. If you work for somebody, they want you to make money for them, so they pay you, and you're just trying to help someone else achieve their goals. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, I do that. I do that currently. There's a lot of people that do that. That's like every single human being that has a job in this world right now. And typically, right now, especially, that's just because of stability. Everybody just wants every day to be stable for once. It doesn't even have to be every day. It could just be one day to be balanced and stable so they don't have to fear for their life, for their safety, for their family. Like, we've seriously got to that point. Our passions, our drive, our emotions are just byproducts of other people now. We're building off of each other. We have no individual idea or sense of what actually makes us happy, what makes us driven, what gives us purpose. And I don't know if that's just because of a lot of distraction these days or, the herd mentality, but it's just kind of scary that people don't know, themselves anymore. And they get so attached to things that at the end of the day, I don't think are what they really want to do. It's just sad to see, man. I mean, I fall into that sometimes. I'm not saying I'm special. I mean, I have instances where I get kind of, integrated into that herd mentality unconsciously and sometimes even consciously. And I think it's just, once again, a byproduct of how society is going right now. And I think we all are trying to strive for something that brings us that balance within ourselves. I don't think it's really about balance of, our community at this point, because I don't think we have the ability or the strength to pour out to the community as much, because I think individually we're struggling so much that we don't have enough energy to give to other people. At the end of the day, I think this whole doomsday thing and, this idea that people are going to start thinking about, you know, we're just going to get closer and closer to the end of the world and what do we do to stop it? I truly think it just starts within yourself. I mean, I've said this in a message between all of my videos recently and in the past about how the individual is so important. Really fixing yourself before you put yourself out to a community or just one other person is so crucial, because how you display yourself and how confident you are and the foundation that you have as a person can truly affect the ones around you. And if you have a stronger foundation and you meet someone else who has a strong foundation, you start to build a community with a strong foundation. We live in a society with a lot of shaky foundations right now. And I think that's why it is getting to this point. You can push the blame out to many different things in the world and society and social media, AI, greed, politicians, politics, current events. You can push it anywhere you want. But at the end of the day, I think it really does come down to each individual person finding what they can do to make the world a better place and following that path. Most of the time, that starts with you. And I think that's what a lot of this doomsday effect, I think, should tell people. I think they should all look within themselves and think, I don't want doomsday to happen. I don't want the clock to tick to midnight. What can I do to fix that? And then take it from there. But once again, guys, this is just my opinion. And I come into the Free Think Dojo freely. I want to just freely talk about the thoughts that I'm having, and that's what this channel is for. But at the end of the day, I know there's not much that I can do personally except to follow my words that I say in this video, my previous videos, and try to follow the best path that I can to create that strong foundation. Trust me, I think a zombie apocalypse would be a very interesting situation based off of the movies and games that I grew up with and, look at now. But I think it's something that a lot of people should start just taking into consideration. I don't think anybody should freak out and, go into a panic attack about this whole doomsday clock. But I think it is something to just take notice of. I think it's something that we need to be aware of, and it's a warning. And warnings usually come when things are not going in good directions. So with that warning, I think we should just try to focus on turning back that clock. But let me know what you guys think about this whole doomsday situation. I know it's something that everybody kind of looks at it as a joke and whatnot, but I think it is a good indicator of just maybe, comparing it to how things are going right now. But definitely let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this whole situation and what you're trying to do to maybe avoid that clock ticking even more. Once again, everyone, I appreciate you all sticking around in the dojo with me today, though. We're going to get through this together, I promise. I'm trying to build, this community with a strong foundation with you guys. So, once again, thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. Remember to like the video, share it with your friends to grow the dojo, and I'll talk to you guys next time.